We got this!
That fast.
Can't lose. This looks good.
Let's do it. Got a sinking feeling.
Alright, that was a short demonstration of my break gauge capabilities with mobs, and as you can see the Marlboro, which has a higher break. You can also look at my Lich video that I've uploaded as I play that as Assassin to see how I do it on bosses. So I'll go ahead and give a quick breakdown of the gear itself and the abilities I'm using to help boost that. So as you can see, I have my Assassin all the way up to 400%, which is a very big key to this build as it gives me final moments, which that's that little stack as you'll increase up to number 5. The longer I don't take any damage, the more break damage I'm capable of doing. This is very key for this build as the 400% Assassin affinity is actually really good if you're doing a break gauge focus character like my Assassin is. As you can see, I'm stacking a lot of the green jobs up top, and that is because most of the green jobs, they all come with the agility boost. I'm also stacking Monk here because of the break increase. As you can see, I have an additional 160 break due to Monk, and I have another 100 points that I put in myself under the Master Tree that gives me a little bit more wiggle room in case I do get hit by an AoE somehow, or just one of the enemies or bosses attacks. That way I'm not getting broken and losing all my buffs in one shot. The Duelist I have up, as you can see, I have it from One Piece, the Plunderer's Jacket on the left hand side. You really don't need this all the way up since I'm using fist weapons. It's just up to 250 because of that one piece, but you do want it, I'll go ahead and say to 160 because you are getting the HP and the agility from it. I mean, Spirit and Strength are also good because, you know, you get some more magic defense from the Spirit and Strength, and some of the combinations will require Strength damage as well. But you're really wanting this for the critical bonus sections right here, where you're getting an 8.1% increase and another 13.5. So in other words, you're getting another 21.6 break damage from critical attacks, which if you're behind the enemy, you're always going to be getting that additional bonus. I have Thief on here, but that's just because I've been farming gear. I'm really pushing more to max out the Monk and the Pugilist. The Monk because you get Mantra, which is basically almost another additional 1,000 HP. So it just gives you a much higher survival rate. Once I get all the pieces that I want completed, I will be taking the Thief Affinity off or leaving some of it on just because I am getting more agility bonus from them. The Pugilist is also another great one. This is the other one I'm building on right now and working on since I am using the knuckle weapons. I'm going to go ahead and take it all the way up to 400%. As you can see here, you get the strike attack bonus, which is another break damage increase by 5.9 and another 9.8. So basically another 15% more break damage I will be doing. They also get high amounts of agility and HP. This will reduce the enemy's back break gauge when using the strong attack. Now you can see in the video as I was hitting the enemies with my rapid shots, in the bottom left hand corner you see the symbol of a fist. It'll have a 1 on it, and you fill up that gauge and eventually get to number 2. When you saw my hands turn red and I started doing the red-handed combinations, that is me using my strong attacks with the knuckles, or basically holding down your R1 or your primary attack button. This will absolutely melt the enemy's break gauge. Once you have it up to the double stack like that, and it flows pretty good, it moves forward as you can tell, where you can stay in motion. If the enemy's moving and you're invisible behind them, you can keep moving with them and hold it down your strong attack where you're not stuck in a stationary place. The grappling master I want, I'm using the energy smash, which is really good in case they do start to move away from you. You can get a lot of range because there's a lot of enemies and bosses that will actually leap, especially bosses, and they'll leap away from you. This will allow you to, if you're still behind them, get multiple shots off on their back and everything like that to keep your break damage going. However, it is wind based, so enemies like for Tyrant and stuff like that, Tiamat, I'm sorry, it does relatively good but not great. For this, I would actually recommend, and this is why I'm trying to get to 400%, my other favorite weapon right here, the Inferno Claws. I mean, it's also called the Raptor Claws. There's different names, but what you're looking for is that enables Deathclaw ability. For what I've seen, the Deathclaw Energy Smash are absolutely the two best for this type of build. They both take just one charge of your mana, but with the Deathclaw, if you're behind them, it does about a 90-degree angle cone in front of you worth of damage, but you can hold down the R2 button and keep that combination going if you know that enemy or that boss is not going to be moving, and it will absolutely melt their break gauge like a knife through butter. So looking at a piece of my gear here, we can see I'm stacking, of course, a lot of greens, a lot of greens, a lot of greens. But let's look at my equipment effects. You can see I'm stacking agility, the break damage dealt, and the enemy weakness break damage dealt. As you can see, if there's a certain criteria that has to be met, the percentage is generally higher. So even though both of them are doing break damage, one of them requires me to have the enemy's weakness, and it's giving me almost basically a full percent more. But all in all, I'm still getting 5.6% per piece of gear stacked like this. This is why I use Mighty Strikes. Mighty Strikes to me is an absolute necessity for this, as it boosts your attack and allows you to pierce the enemy's resistance. Basically, you will always be hitting the enemy for their weakness. Also invisible, this allows me to stay behind the target without me getting targeted and having to worry about the enemy turning around and I'm losing their back. It also keeps the enemies and the bosses from doing a lot of AoE. Let's say you have somebody kiting or tanking at a distance and you have another one that's a mage. I highly recommend using them, having the mage or whoever's not going to be primary tanking also use invisible. That way the enemy is not constantly turning. As you can see, I'm using 2 NPCs at the moment. I'm not doing my co-op play, but it still keeps the enemies from turning around completely and looking at me. So yeah, that's kind of a quick breakdown. I hope the video and breakdown of the gear and my affinity bonuses kind of help showcase how I'm able to drop some of these enemies so quick using that break gauge. Alright, thank you. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope it helps you out.